Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I've missed you guys, it's been a while. So today's video is going to be kind of different from my usual video, but something I like to do. I like to promote people's endeavors, like push out what they've been doing so far. And on
Yeah,
today's episode, I have a guest. His name is Dr. Joshua Owoyemi.
thank you.
So
Thank
I've
you.
known Joshua for quite some time. I mean, he was in Japan before I came, so I've known him for like 5 years plus now. So
Mhm.
today he has the floor to share what he's been doing so far in Japan and how the journey has been so far. So I hope you guys will stick around, watch this video to the end because I'm telling you it's going to be very value packed and you will like what you hear and what you see. So guys, stay around and don't forget to subscribe. So over to you, Dr. Joshua. Can you kindly introduce yourself a bit and why did you come to Japan and your journey so far?
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for having me on your channel. It's been a great
Welcome.
experience to be here. My journey to Japan, it started 2015. That's about 8 years ago. And at that time, I was lecturing at Federal University, Oye, Ekiti. And then I just finished my master's like 1 or 2 years before then. So I was really passionate about like furthering my education, and I felt like I still had a lot to learn.
Mm.
And I promised myself that, okay, my next phase is going to be outside the country. So I was looking at different countries and different opportunities out there. And of course, my background was in mechanical engineering. And
Yeah,
at that time, I was really interested in robotics and how it applied. And one country that came at the top at that time was Japan, because Japan had the highest deployment of robots at the time for
obvious
manufacturing. So
reasons.
I felt like, well, okay, let me see if Japan will work out. And fortunately, at that time, I got to know about the MEC scholarship.
Mm.
And I was in Oyekiti at that time. I was in Ikole, and I applied. I remember the day I went to apply, I used EMS to send the letter from that small, very small post office.
Yeah,
Oyekiti.
to Abuja.
Yeah, to Abuja. I wasn't even sure that I was gonna get there because it felt like, whoa, this from Ikole to Abuja. So anyway, I sent it, and like months later, I got the feedback that okay, I should come for the exam, and I was really happy. And thank God I got the scholarship, and that was when the journey started.
Yeah.
And it has been beautiful since then. And then I came to Japan. I joined this lab. The lab was focused more on software. So that was the first turning point in my journey from hardware to software. So because I had mechanical engineering
Background, yeah.
background, and now I have to start working with software. So it meant I need to learn programming.
Mm.
Before then, I knew about programming, but it was just for passing courses in FUTA. So that I went to my undergraduate was in FUTA, so I did some programming courses, but it was just basically cram and pour.
Yeah.
There was no real
In-depth understanding, so to say.
yeah. So when I contacted my professor back in Nigeria, then he told me that I need to start learning programming. So I started learning Python, but it was still not very good. So it was until I came to Japan that I was really into it. And that was when I started software engineering. I started learning Python. I learned a little bit of C++ at the time, and I was doing my PhD at the same time,
Yes.
and I was doing research at the same time,
Oh,
and I was also
just have
trying
to
to do
go
some
hours a
online
day.
courses. Yeah, it was really hectic. I remember I used to sleep in the lab a lot at that time. I can still remember very well. And yeah, it was a tough 3 years. And so in 2016, that was when I started my PhD, up to 2019. So I was in all of this. And 2019, I graduated and I moved to Tokyo to join a company called ZMP. So they were involved in self-driving cars because I got really interested in self-driving cars. So I joined that company and I was with them for 1 year. Then I joined my current company now. So since then I've been in AI, computer vision, programming, software engineering, and that's how my journey kind of snowballed until now.
Wow, that's quite
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, guys, I'm actually a very big fan of Joshua's tech endeavors. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been one release or the other, and I've actually been following up on a lot of those platforms, and he's been doing so well. Like, I'm not even kidding you guys. This is not to like say something that is not the truth. It's the pure truth.
Yeah.
So that's why I invited him here, because one thing that caught my interest was, I mean, he's doing well, thriving in a foreign land. I'm like, okay, this is what people would like to see most times, not just, we have to give like both views, both sides of the whole story, how he's doing well so far in a foreign land. That's the emphasis. So now let's get to the main thing. So we're talking about these platforms we've launched so far. The first one I think is Bidot, which I've used a couple of times. I mean, when you launched it initially, I remember sharing the links to as much people as I know. Like, yeah, follow this guy. Yo. He's a techie kind of person.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have a brother who is very interested in tech. So you did a seminar in 2019 or early 2020 for
Yeah.
programming.
Yeah.
I was part of that, even though I didn't spend so much time because I had class and all that in between. And I also shared those links. So yeah, he does a lot of good things. So walk us through Bidot, how it works, and then we'll get to the next platform, which you guys will be blown away by.
Okay, so a bit of backstory on B Dot. When I came to Japan, I realized that I was like competing with guys who are like much younger than me, and they've been doing programming for like 10 or even more 5 or 10 years earlier. They started from their secondary school. So I felt like, wow, these guys started very early. And it was not that they were, I mean, I know that like people, anybody that was doing research at that time, they were brilliant, but it was not like they were super brilliant. It was just because they started those things very early, and so they had a very large head start. And competing with me that I just started programming like a year ago. So I felt like it would be a great opportunity to extend the same opportunity back home to people in Nigeria. Also, that's when I started. I launched a program at that time. I launched this project. I called it Equip AK School. So
Yes.
it meant that I wanted to provide software engineering, computer science, um, um, learning to people in Akure. So Akure is where I came from. So that's why I said AK school. So then we actually launched at a secondary school in Akure, CAC Grammar School, and we provided computers, and we provided a volunteer who would teach them every week about computer science. And I kind of partnered with some guys back there in Akure, and we plan to do it like not just in Akure, but in other in other schools in other states too. I remember we went to another school in Edo, but what we realized quickly was that one, there was not enough good computer science teachers
Yeah.
back at home. Most of the guys who did computer science, they are working for big companies, so it's like a step down for them to come and be teaching in the secondary school. And number two, the infrastructure was not there, and so I realized that it was going to be very difficult thing to kind of scale up that program. So I thought about how can we do this. Let us create a platform for learning computer science that will be accessible to all to guys from wherever you are, maybe even in the rural place in Nigeria. And at that time it was very difficult because I was actually doing my PhD at the same time. That was 2018, and I didn't know anything about web development or anything about that. So I started finding how I could do this. In the beginning, I tried to partner with some guys to help to do it, but they were also very busy. So I felt like, okay, if nobody's gonna do it, I have to do it by myself. So I started learning web development at the same time too. So that was when later, like it took like almost a year before it actually 2 years before it actually started doing anything about it. And in 2021, we launched B Dot. So we now extended the vision, not just in computer science, but in any kind of in-demand skill
Yeah.
that people might be interested in. And we launched it. It turns out that we were actually competing with companies like Udemy and the rest of them. So
Yeah.
they are already established names. And
Yeah.
so what we did was to change our idea to make it a cohort based. So we invite experts, people who are already in that field, to actually teach. So now we have a program in data analysis. We have a program in Python programming for data analysis, and we also have a program in product management. So the big difference between us and those other or those other platform is that the people that are teaching are people who are actually working as data analysts or product managers. So they would do the cohort like 2 or 3 times a year, and we will get people in each of those cohorts, and they would teach them over almost 4 months to learn the skill. And then we've had a lot of success because people who came through those cohorts have actually gone ahead to transition into data analysis and started working in companies. And so we still had a problem of scaling. So that is why I started thinking about how we can make use of AI to actually help this the idea of BDOT. So the BDOT part is still there. We're still doing the code based, but we now added the new feature, which is what you really want to talk about, which is Bookie that we added recently. Yeah.
So guys, now on to the next topic, which is about my girl Bookie AI. So Joshua launched Bookie AI, I think last month, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and immediately I think I woke up around 6 or 7 a.m. I opened my Facebook and I saw the name. I said, Bookie. The name alone is so Nigerian. So I rushed, I registered, I clicked on this, and I started asking Bookie questions, even just with how. That was a very serious thing. As if that wasn't enough, a few weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, we gave an example of speaking pidgin language to Bookie. I said, what's going on, guy? This is really interesting. So I really wanted him to talk about Bookie, like give us a demo. How does Bookie work? All the features. I mean, he has done so well in Bookie. I'm not a very techie person, but I'm actually very impressed with what he has done so far. So let us talk about Bookie.
Yeah, so Bookie AI is we call it a AI-powered learning assistant. Okay, so it's basically made to help you learn in a structured way. Of course, there are many other chatbots out there who are doing kind of the same thing, but the big difference here is that it helps you organize whatever answers you want in form of a structured course or a subject. And when doing that, it actually creates automatic assessments like quizzes to test your knowledge. So imagine you're learning about a particular subject, say semiconductors, and it takes you through the process from the beginning, and it tests your knowledge by giving you assessments, and it assesses your knowledge. You can see how you're doing, ask questions, and you answer the question, and it gives you scores based on that. And then you can also like upload materials like PDFs or text documents, and you can incorporate that into your learning, and you can use that to also give you that course that you're doing. So we designed it as a learning framework for just learning for learning in a structured way. So that's the main.
Okay, so can you give us a demo now? We are waiting to see how this works.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. So if anybody wants to check this out, you just go to bdot.com/bookie. Maybe you're gonna share the link later, but it's quite easy. bdot.com/bookie. And a lot of people ask me the question, what does Bookie mean? It's just a very common name in Nigeria. It's a word play between book and a Nigerian name. So Bookie is the nearest name to book.
Yeah.
So book, Bookie, and yeah. So, and we also want to personify it as a person who is actually helping you. So that's why we use.
I think that's very interesting because I mean it caught my attention. I'm like Bookie, like when you hear chat, it sounds so AI.
Yeah. So basically, this is what you see when you log on to Bookie. Of course, you have to register and sign in, and of course, you can chat with it like any normal AI, any normal chatbot idea out there. You can ask any question, and it will answer you. But I will show you how you can actually use it to create a subject. So let's say I want to learn about what topic is very interesting right now.
Let's say climate change.
Oh, okay, good. So I'll just create this, click this create subject, and I can say I want to learn about climate change. And the good thing is that the way we want to do it is because it's personalized. So you can have a host of um, courses out there that talks about climate change, but
Yes.
Bookie can actually personalize it to your query. So let's say we want climate change about climate change and the effects in Africa.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
this is a very personalized, like a specific topic. So I'm going to click that, and then it's going to work its magic and create a subject. So now it's created a subject and it gives it a title, Climate Change and Its Effects in Africa. And it gives you like a synopsis of that subject. So explores the impact of climate change in Africa and understands the measure to mitigate its effect. In this course, it tells you what you're going to learn in the course, how it's going to do it, and that's how it goes. And of course, it also gives you an outline. So I can just click here, generate the subject outline, and it gives you an outline of the course. So introduction to climate change, the climate change impacts in Africa, the vulnerability mitigation measures, policy and governance, and things like that. And
Interesting.
then, and you can also see the subject outline on this side. And then I can say, okay, yeah, I see what I want to do now. Yeah, continue to the next section. So what it does is that this information is not in our database. It's just generating it
Yes.
as you are giving it that query. So it generates the information and it develops that first section for you. So introduction to climate change, and it tells and it goes more into details.
Oh,
And this is one thing that you won't find on many other chatbots here. I
yes.
can now say, okay, now I've learned about this. Let me take an assessment for this section. So it will generate a quiz based on the content of this section here.
Oh,
And now it has generated a quiz. Ask me, okay, what is climate change?
wow.
So I can say, let me just, we didn't go through it, but let me
Yes,
just try
for
to answer this.
that.
Yeah, what is greenhouse effect? Um,
Number one.
okay, which of the following gases are greenhouse gases? I think carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. I think methane should also be a greenhouse gas. And what is global warming? Um, increase in average, yeah. And what are the primary drivers of climate change? Burning fossil fuels, okay. Natural climate fluctuations, changes in land use patterns, okay. Now I can submit this, and immediately you know, it assesses, it gives me a score. Your score is 57%. So what you can see here is that, okay, these are the correct answers. It shows the correct answers, and it shows the ones that I didn't get
Yeah.
right. And this is how, it basically helps you to learn. And
Wow.
once I'm done with this section, I can just go to the next section.
This is really
And
interesting.
it does that for all the sections. So the next section is climate change impacts in Africa. So you can see on this side here, these are the sections, and it
Also
tells you the
outline.
section
Yes.
done. Yeah. And you can see. And okay, maybe we don't have to go through all of this, but other things I want to show you is that you can actually export this content out as a
Oh,
PDF and
yes.
use it.
Generate
Yeah.
PDF.
Yeah. So when I do generate PDF here, and I can download the PDF, and now it's just like an we're doing this also for teachers. They can
Hmm.
use this to create
A
a
course.
subject, a
Yes.
course handout. So
Yes.
basically, it generates this handout for you, and you can distribute this to your students.
Oh, this is really.
And another way is that you can also share the subject. So now I can share the subject. Let me go. So it's copied that link, and I can paste the link here. And it's basically create a subject. So here now, I can share the subject with another person, and that person can basically take that same subject that I just created right now.
Yes.
So these are some of the things that we have added. Of course, there you can also always come back. You don't have to finish, at once, and
Yes.
you can, have a whole list of subjects or collections that you're learning about. This is my
Yes.
own part, and actually there's a lot of things I'm learning recently. And so for now, it's still free. In the future, because we are adding more users, we now have about almost 200 users that are using the platform. So when we get more users, I think there would be some kind of payment.
Premium
So now
version.
we're trying to make it as accessible to many people as possible. At least to some extent, many or some parts of it will still be free. Creating courses and things, because we realize, and this is one thing that we are trying to do. So we know that there are tools out there. For example, ChatGPT
Yes.
is like the most powerful AI tool out there right now, which is ChatGPT. And there's a free version and there's the
Paid version.
paid version. So the free version can do a lot of things. You can chat with it, although it cannot do these things that we showed here. But the paid version is very, very powerful. It does images and all of those things. And we are trying to get to that point, but by still maintaining, still making it
Originality.
accessible. So
Yes.
how do we make it accessible? Because ChatGPT the paid version costs like $20 a month. For a Nigerian, that is like
That's a lot of money.
that's a 20,000 naira
Naira.
a month. So what one payment plan that we want to introduce is pay as you go. So you don't actually pay per month. You can pay based on the questions that you asked.
Okay.
So for somebody who is using it not so much, they don't
Yeah,
have to pay much.
twice in a
And
year.
for people who are using
Yeah.
more, yeah. So I think that is one way that we can make it more accessible while
Okay.
still not
Being
making the app platform available, because it costs money to actually
true.
to make it available to
Okay.
people. So
True. That's true.
that's one thing I want to introduce in the next few days.
Okay. This has been a very interesting discussion so far. I'm really impressed with how far you've come.
Yeah.
Could you maybe give me an example? I'm really fascinated with that pidgin language part.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
this is me overreaching my happiness.
Yeah. So for the pigeon part, let me just start a new chat here,
Yes.
and I can say you fit tell me 134 pigeon.
Oh, goodness me.
So I just typed that in. Let's see, it might take some time, but yeah, it should give us an output here.
I'll read
So
this one. Sure. Here's a story in Nigerian pidgin. Now, one afternoon,
now
one small village, they get one woman where they say, "Of her name say, this is interesting." Okay, Mama, Mama Joy. Okay, Mama Joy. Mama Joy, they popular for the village sake of her of. Okay, yeah. I think I'm now satisfied. Yeah.
yeah.
How
So
intriguing this is for me. I mean, I am super stoked on this, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I think this
yeah,
is what a tryout is. What a tryout. Trust me, you're going to enjoy using it. And I like the distinct picture of it, where you're creating a subject, you're generating the course outline. It's giving me scheme of work, secondary school course outline, university kind of vibe, where the lecturer gives you, okay, this is what we're going to do for the semester. Go through it at your
yeah,
own better. I mean, it's
exactly. Yeah.
really, really, really interesting. I mean, it has a very big shift from what I'm used to in Chat GPT. Thank you so much, Dr. Joshua, for all this enlightening discussion so far. So my question now is, what's your uh future plan like for this Bidot and Bookie, apart from
Yeah,
monetizing or having a paid version for the Bookie AI? What's your whole game at the end of the day for Bidot
good.
as a platform?
Okay. I can tell you what we are doing now and what we'll continue to do. So one of the things that we're trying to do now is to push for adopting like AI learning assistant in schools in Nigeria. And currently we're actually working on a proposal that we'll be sending out to some universities in Nigeria and some organizations. And we're partnering with some organizations, some agencies that will help us to, you know, push this message, because we think that, personally, I think that this is like the calculator moment in learning. Because first, when calculator was introduced, people were like, I mean, it's going to make students lazy, they're not
Lazy,
going to be able to
yes.
calculate. But the truth is, if you're not able to use calculator or a computer now, you're like
Far
handicapped.
behind, stone
Yeah, you're
age.
far behind. And
Yes.
so this is what I think that AI as a learning assistant is going to be something that people are going to need to actually, you know, rise up to the challenges of this current technological environment, because there's so much that people can do with AI right now that you can, if you don't want to use it, you can stay there and be, you know, doing the same thing for next few months, and somebody will do that same thing in just one day. So this is what we're trying to push. We want to push it as a learning tool in universities, for our universities, and also for secondary schools if possible. And we are trying to work on this. And my overall aim is to make AI as a learning tool, you know, accessible to as many Nigerians as possible. And this is what we're trying to push out.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
really good. Okay, so one last thing is, what would be your advice to people who are building these new platforms, or people who don't even have access to this, you know, great platforms, but they're hoping one day to be like in the tech space and do great exploits? What would be your advice to these younger people back home who are probably looking up to you at this point, or looking up to other maybe tech starters or tech startups?
Yeah, I mean, from my story, I got started in this just because I felt like if I don't do it, nobody else would. And if you have that same attitude, nothing will be able to stop you. You just have to, you know, do what it takes. You understand? You just have to like rise up to the challenge. So if you find something that is missing in your environment, something that you feel like you can provide, just take the step. You might not have all the skills in the beginning, but the more you are interested in doing that thing, and you just take the step to start doing it, and as time goes on, you get people who would help you, who will be able to show you the way. So what the most important thing is that you should have that desire or that dream. Once that dream is there, then there's nothing that is going to stop you to do it.
Oh, that's good. Once the dream is there,
Yeah.
nothing is going to stop you. Thank you so much. Guys, I hope this has
Yeah.
enlightening discussion as it has been for me. I mean, I've learned so much and I'm actually pumped. I mean, I'm still schooling, but I'm looking forward to, there are some ideas in my head. I mean, they've been stuck there for some time now. I'm looking forward to, you know, making use of them and not letting them just be there and be idle. So thank you so much once again, Dr. Joshua, for
Well, thank you so much. Yeah.
very interesting session. I really appreciate it. I
Mm,
look forward to making more videos with you in the future, as probably as we
sure,
launch
sure.
new features and the rest of it.
Yeah, yeah,
So guys, if you've
yeah.
come this far, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and share it. And most importantly, use Bookie My Girl and B.Dot's assistant learning. It was very, very, very good. I promise you guys. So guys, on this note, we say bye and see you in the next video.
Thank you so much. Bye.